Welcome to another episode of Cameron's Corner. I'm Cameron Hecking, and once again, we're going to be talking all things Utah real estate. But today, I'm super excited to be bringing on a guest. I have TJ Shelley from First Colony Mortgage on with us today. Thank you so much for hopping in with me.
For sure.
And really, I want to talk about all things Utah real estate, and that's why in mortgages, affordability is like a huge part of that.
Yeah.
So I want to have somebody in who knows a lot more than I would about the details on a mortgage. But first, introduce yourself, how long you've been doing it, a little bit about First Colony, however you want to introduce yourself. Take
Yeah.
some time.
Perfect. So, like you said, my name is TJ Shelley. I've been working in the loan industry. Like, it's funny. Last year, I got like my 12-year celebration little trophy thing. But I've been a licensed loan officer for about 8 years. I got into it. My family helped start First Colony Mortgage back in the 80s. So, First Colony is a local company. We're Utah homegrown, and we've been growing a lot. So at this point, we're a nationwide brand, and it's a great place to work for. It has a great reputation in Utah. I think it's trusted, and I love all the people I work with.
Awesome. Yeah. So you've been doing this for 8 years. I've been a licensed realtor. I've been doing real estate for like 2.5 years, 3 years. So for me, it's been all, high interest rates. I've heard a lot of people say that it's been a hard time to be in real estate. I've enjoyed my time. I haven't known anything other than what we currently are at. But with you having 8 years, what has that 8 years kind of looked like? Like what is your experience being in mortgages looked like over that time period?
Yeah. It's interesting. Like, I really got into it, like decided, okay, I want to do this full time, and just became a full-time loan officer in 2019.
Okay.
So like I got lucky where, yeah, you're right. 2020, 2021, I think distorted everybody's views of reality because rates were under 3%. Homes at that time were still pretty affordable.
Yeah.
And to answer your question, I think what like a lot of you could call them issues. I don't know if they're necessarily issues, but with affordability, a lot of why housing affordability isn't great right now is because of 2020, 2021. So during that time, COVID happened. Because of COVID, everybody was worried about the country's economy slowing, and like everybody was shut in. Is that what they were called?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
like every lockdown.
Yeah.
Yeah. So people were in lockdown. So like the government, they cut their interest rate to zero, and they were just tossing out money like candy, no interest for a very long time.
Yeah.
That drove down the rates. But when rates come down and the cost to borrow money gets really cheap, people are going to start like what a $500,000 home would cost at 5% versus 2.5% is very different.
Mm-hmm.
So people became really cheap to borrow money. So the prices of homes went up, and it went up so fast that it caused inflation, like not just with the housing market, but everything else. Like if you try to buy a mountain bike or a car or anything during COVID, it was just a nightmare. Everybody had money. It was really easy to spend. So the cost of everything went up.
Yeah.
And what the government does to fight that, or what the Federal Reserve, they have to step in and they have to raise interest rates. So because everything got so expensive, the idea is if the government, this Federal Reserve raises interest rates, then spending slows down and the cost of things can calm down and like get to a normal spot again.
Yeah.
So that's what it's been the last couple of years is the home prices went way up. In Utah, there's always going to be more demand for housing than there is supply, at least for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
So interest rates went way up. Home prices haven't come down. And that's why we're dealing with the affordability issues, you could say, that we're having now.
Yeah. No, and that's what I've noticed. And a lot of people in conversation that I've talked with, they say, "Oh, housing is so unaffordable." Like that's a huge thing that people are talking about. And really, what you mentioned is kind of what I've noticed is to be the kind of the issue with that is the interest rates. I mean, interest rates right now, with the rates that we have historically, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but historically we're sitting at a fairly average interest rate.
Not terrible over history for sure.
Yeah. And it's just that spike in housing prices so quickly that really made people feel it in their pockets quite a bit as far as the affordability, going from having 0%, 2.5% interest rates up to what is now historically like an average. I think it was just like a lot of shock for people. And that's kind of one of the reasons I wanted to bring you on is one of the ways here in Utah County that I've noticed that we've combated that quite a bit is with a lot of new construction and new build incentives is a huge way that I've at least been telling friends and family and helping friends and family get into something with, you still maybe like a 5% interest rate, 5.5% interest rate, but it helps a little bit with some of those incentives. At First Colony, you guys are a preferred lender with do you know how many builders off the top?
Not off the top,
There's a lot.
but a lot.
Yeah, so
Like
you're
a good chunk of them in Utah do use us as their preferred lender.
Yeah, so what does that mean? So for me as the real estate agent, my goal for my clients is to set them up. I like to do it in a way where it's kind of like a one-stop shop. If people have their own lenders, that's great. But if not, I want to provide an amazing service for them.
Yeah.
And a huge part of that is a lending partner. And so with the First Colony being our lending partners and with new construction being such a huge piece of the puzzle right now, how does that work for you as First Colony? Like, how are you guys able to help with that affordability, so to speak, with some of these new construction incentives?
I think it's funny for like the general public, you'll see a big thing that builders are doing right now is they're promoting low interest rates.
Yeah,
Because ultimately they know it doesn't really matter what the price of the home is. It's more so what people are going to be paying monthly for it.
100%.
It's like if you haven't been looking for houses or if you're not aware of the current economic conditions, I think maybe you'll drive down I-15, assuming you live in Utah, and you'll be like, why are all of these builders advertising like a 5.49% interest rate or all of these interest rates? And it's because that's the best way to make your housing more affordable. So if you take like just for simple math, if somebody wants to think about it, like say you're borrowing $100,000, right? 1% on $100,000. So take 100,000, 1%, that's $1,000 that you're saving each year in interest savings. So like on a $500,000 loan, if your interest savings are 1%, you're going to be saving about $5,000 a year. So if a builder is offering you a rate that's a full percent below what the market rate is, they're allowing you to get into your home for hundreds of dollars less a month. So it's great, and they have the ability to do that because they can more or less control, the prices of the homes being sold. As long as they can sell homes for what they're selling for, they can really help you out on the back end by helping cover your interest rate.
For sure.
And I will say it's like with every builder, it doesn't matter if they own their own mortgage company, if they work with us as a lending partner. Like I will say, if we're being fully transparent, like a lot of what they might be helping you to do with your rate is going to be baked in somewhat to the price of your home.
100%.
But it's going to be better for you to maybe save, like, would you rather save $500 a month, be able to qualify for the home and make it feasible? Or would you rather just save, $20,000 in almost imaginary equity because you're not going to have it until, you sell the home?
Yeah. So and that's what I tell people is I have a lot of people asking me, like, when do you think house prices are going to be going down? Do you think house prices are going to go down? Interest rates, all those things. And in all honesty, like you said, interest rates are going to be in today's day, interest rates are going to be the biggest thing that will affect that. We don't want to see it. I mean, in my opinion, we're not going to want to see a huge crash in house prices. That doesn't mean anything good for us here in like our economy. And so right now, interest rates are going to be the biggest thing that we would hope for that affordability. And so new construction, it's one avenue that we've talked about. It's an awesome way to do that. And I wanted to ask you as a lender, what are some other tips or some other things that you're seeing people do that's helping them with the affordability side of things? Because like you said, the house prices are what they're at. Yes, they were artificially, inflated with COVID and whatnot in that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're at where we're at with pricing. So what are some things that we can do to actually help with that month to month
Yeah.
payment?
I do want to just bump back to what you said. Like I guess you could say they're artificially inflated, but I think a really telling sign of what the housing market is in Utah is you've had higher rates for a couple years now. And have you seen home prices dip?
Nope.
Like there's enough demand to keep it going.
Yes, 100%.
Like I never really think it's a bad thing if you can make it happen
Yeah.
to do it. And there is some things like rates should hopefully be coming down. But sorry, to get to your question, like other tips, honestly, my favorite thing, if you can ever find a home with what's called an accessory dwelling unit, and think about it as like that's what we call it on the lending side, but it's like a mother-in-law apartment, or maybe it's like, I don't know, I've seen people that even have like detached tiny homes on their
Yeah.
yard, right? So like if you can find a home with an ADU, I think that that's a huge benefit because it allows you to house hack, meaning like you live in the home, but there's other people in the home paying you rent to help subsidize your mortgage payment. So I think that's a huge help. To give another plug to new construction, like I know Fieldstone Homes, if you use us as a lending partner, depending on like the unit that you buy, like the lot and everything, they'll give you, up to $47,000. They'll finish the basement and they'll build you out an ADU. So like if
It's
you,
actually awesome.
yeah, it's sweet. So like if you are buying and you have the opportunity to build a house with a mother-in-law apartment in it,
Mhm.
say that mother-in-law apartment is bringing you $1,000 a month. It's awesome because all of a sudden your mortgage payment is going to be offset by $1,000, but you can also use the projected rental income from that mother-in-law apartment to help you qualify for the loan.
Okay, that answers. I was gonna
Yeah.
ask you. I was gonna ask you because obviously with something like that, it's usually gonna be a single family home. So I was gonna ask if there's any way that you can get pre-approved for more with knowing that you're gonna rent out the basement. And it sounds like, are there any parameters around like what that unit has to be to like qualify for that, or is it just any livable space you can kind of write it up that way?
Yeah. So there are a couple of exceptions. So it has to be separate from the main unit, meaning like it has to be its own, like, like think of a mother-in-law apartment, right?
Yeah.
Like you've probably been to somebody's house with one, like maybe there's a door to the actual house, but that door has a lock on it.
You got your own kitchen, you got
Yeah.
your own like it's they can live completely on their own, but it's just like attached
Yeah.
some way to the home.
Yeah. So
Or
there's an exterior entrance that only goes to the ADU, not anywhere else.
okay.
And then yeah, you have to have a full kitchen, a bathroom. I wrote down notes, so I didn't forget other stuff. Separate entrance, yeah. It's biggest things are separate entrance, kitchen, bathroom, and it does have to be smaller than the primary dwelling. So,
Okay.
like, if you have a house that's 2,000 square feet, the ADU has to be 999 square feet. It can't be the exact size as the main dwelling.
Okay. And then as far as the how that helps with qualifying, as far as the amount that you're gonna rent it out for, like the projected amount that you're gonna rent it out for, they take that full amount, or is it like a percentage of that that they can take to then qualify you for more house?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So we use 70 foot. So say you're able to rent it out for $1,000. What we do, we don't ultimately know what you're going to be renting that unit for. So we order what's called the rent schedule, where an appraiser will go and he'll say, okay, other basement apartments in your area are renting from anywhere from $800 to $1,200 a month. So let's say fair market rent for your basement is $1,000 a month.
Okay.
So we expect that it's not going to be filled constantly. So on the lending side, we can only use 75% of what that projected rental income is to offset your mortgage.
Okay.
So if you're renting it out for $1,000, we can add back in $750 to your qualifying income.
Cool. No, that's awesome. And that is another little tip that I've given to people because like I said, affordability is what like the buzzword that you're hearing people say. That's what's the hardest thing in today's housing market is just how to afford with the prices and the interest rates where they're at. And the way that I look at it is there's so many different options out there to making it just more affordable. The numbers on how much the house costs and all that stuff, it's just one piece of the puzzle, but it's what can we do on the back end? Like what can we negotiate as the realtor? What are you able to do on the lending side? And there's so many different avenues than just like a traditional, I'm just going to purchase this home, no variants. Like there's so many different things that you can do to make it more affordable. And I think that's really important for people to hear in today's market where it's so many people that I know, my friends and family, first time home buyers, are thinking that it's something that they can't accomplish. And really, the whole goal of my podcast, the whole goal of sitting down is just to show people that there is hope, like there is a way that you can do it. It just might take some strategy and some planning.
Yeah.
And so with that, I did want to ask you what you're, and obviously I know you don't have like a crystal ball, you can't tell us for sure, but like based off of, forecasts, based off of meetings and like where things are going in the lending world and the mortgage side of things, what is your projection looking like? Like, what are you feeling confident on as far as, 12 months down the road or like the future moving forward with rates and all that?
I think it's really hard to say. People put different economic forecasts all the time, and
Yeah.
they've been so wrong.
They've been saying rates go down for the last 2 years, three
Right.
years. Yeah.
But I think the writing is finally on the wall where we're at a place where inflation has become more stable. And with inflation being more stable, that allows, the Federal Reserve to start reducing their rates. And so I think that that'll be a huge thing moving forward as not just inflation slows, but as the economy slows. Like you've probably seen that there's job reports coming out.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had the highest unemployment now that we've had since 2021. So like when things like this happen, it's writing on the walls for rates to come down because we need to start stimulating our economy again.
Mhm.
So I do think that rates will come down I mean, don't hold me to it. I could always be wrong, but I feel like we're getting to a spot where there's enough economic data
Yeah.
to confidently say in the next 12 months, rates should be under 6%.
Yeah.
I always think housing here will be strong. But to your point, like I think my favorite part of being a loan officer the last couple of years is when rates are 2.7%, it's easy. Like it's just saying, okay, let's
Yeah.
do this and let's crank them through. Like it's a lot more fun to be creative. Like you can buy out mortgage insurance, you can come up with, temporary solutions to bring your payments as low as possible through temporary rate buy downs or permanent rate buy downs. There's so many different things you can do. So if you can get the numbers to pencil, like that's my favorite part of my job is figuring out how to make payments work for people, how to get people to qualify. Because I think if you can qualify now, what I've told people that are financed even in the sevens right now, maybe they bought a year ago.
Yeah.
Like if you can get your payment to a spot that you like right now, if we can make it work, let's do it because that's going to be the cap on what your payment is. Like your
Same.
payment can always come down, and I hope in a year from now I'm reaching out. Like I'm refinancing people right now. Their rates are in the low sixes again. But like if you can make it work with your cap, hopefully we only bring your payment down moving forward.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to do. Like I'd love to get people into houses. So, if rates come down and housing prices start heating up again, like I would love to help people be able to take advantage of just getting in before things just continue to get even more unaffordable.
Yeah. I think that's the name of the game for us in our industry is realizing that you can't ever time what's going on. So if you're at a spot in your life where you want to purchase a home, really it is just about getting all of the pieces to make that monthly payment work for you. All the other all the other stuff is kind of noise at that point. Like if you can make the monthly payments work, if you can make the payment happen, I always tell people, especially in my demographic right now that I've really been helping with to understand this is first time home buyers.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm telling people, listen, if you can get into a property and you can make it work for you and it's not like a complete struggle, like I don't want you to be completely disappointed.
We just be house.
I don't want you to be,
Yeah.
I don't want you to be a house poor. I don't want you to be, hating your life. But like if we can find you a spot that works for you and know that you're putting money into an amazing investment where hopefully you can then turn that around and use that as like your bouncing board to those homes that you're going to like want to live in forever. It's so much easier to get to that point when you own that first property or when you already have skin in the game of a property owned. And so right now in 2025, the goal is let's get you into that house. Let's find something that works for you because I'm confident with how much inventory we have. Like I'm confident that we can,
Yeah. And that's I'm having a baby in October, and people always are like,
on that.
thank you. But people are always like, oh, the first one is always the hardest. Like going from 0 to 1 is hard, and it's the exact same thing with properties. Like, obviously, we don't want you to be house poor, but if you can get into the home without being a sacrifice, like the hardest property to get in is your first property.
Yeah.
Like once you're in your first property, like you said, you start building equity. It just becomes so much easier to purchase properties down the road and to start building the future you want through unlocking that equity.
Yeah. And that's the goal here, just to give people tips, give people information. So I appreciate you coming on. Do you have any last things that you want to tell people in the mortgage world? Is there anything that you want to give people or were you able to say it all?
The mortgage world is insane. So Everybody's situation is different. If you have questions, Cameron can get you in contact with me. I'm always happy to help answer questions, help you strategize, and figure out what we can do to hopefully get you into a home or start preparing for that. Like whatever your next step is, just helping you prepare for that.
Perfect. Well, I want to end off. I want to ask you two questions. First, I want to ask you what do you love about living in Utah? Like, what is your favorite thing to do here in Utah? First off, we'll ask you that, and then I want to ask you what is your favorite restaurant here? If you had to suggest a restaurant to somebody, where are you sending them?
Yeah. So I'm a diehard skier. I love skiing. It's in the winter. It's my favorite thing to do. So
Where do you go?
Park City. So Park City with having a baby this year, I may switch to Sundance. I don't know how I feel about that yet. But no, absolutely love skiing. So in the winter, there's so many good places. There's Park City, all the resorts in the Cottonwoods.
Yeah, I worked at Snowbird for like 3 years.
Yeah.
I just cleaned.
Snowbird's
I,
fun.
I just cleaned the units,
Yeah.
and then I got a free pass, so it was fun.
Yeah. So that's super good time. I actually look forward to winter.
Yeah.
And then food restaurant off the top. I like pho. So like lovely pho and Orem.
Have you ever been there?
There. It's good pho. It's slept on. And I'm worried that they're gonna go out of business because there's not a lot of people there when I
We'll have to stop by.
so go there, keep them in business because I like their food.
Yeah, check out. It was Lovely Pho.
Yeah, lovely
Cool.
fun.
I'll have to go there too because my mother-in-law loves it. She orders it at least 3 times a week. So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll go check that out. But hey, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And if there's any like he said, if buying a home is something that you are interested in, if it's a goal of yours, reach out to me and I'll get you connected with my team, get you connected with TJ, and we can come up with a plan that works for you. Because purchasing a home is something that it's not the same for everybody. There's so many different avenues and there's so many different factors that go into it. But I'm confident that if it's a goal of yours, we can make it happen. We just have to put together the right plan.
Sweet. So